Any maintenance tips for the newbies out there, especially people who are trying to do the I'm doing everything in the studio myself kind of the way you do?
Don't do that. Mainly.
Welcome to Room 6. I'm Josh, and today I am very happy to be joined by Mark Antares of Sodacon Music. Say hi.
Hello.
We're going to be chit-chatting with him about all sorts of things, and then we'll go ahead and get a chance to hear a couple songs maybe.
Cool.
Awesome. Welcome to Room 6. Proper.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Let's get it right out of the way. When's your next gig?
Next gig is June 18th at the Fremont Street over at the Independent Music Concert Series.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is that one of the outdoor stages?
I'm not sure. I think it's in the indoors at the
that'll be nice.
Annapolis.
That's much better.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sure yet, but I'll give it my all no matter what.
well, of course. How long have you actually been in Vegas?
I've lived here before, but since last 2018 March 7th. So kind of a newbie again, but I lived here previously.
How long did you live here previously?
For a year in the 90s. Yeah.
Well, once you hit 10 years, you're a native. I've been here like 15, 16 years.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing as Sodacon or as Mark Antares?
For Sodacon, I've been doing this for 10 years. Actually 14. Yeah.
Okay.
Once I got past 10, I kept calling it 10, but it's 14.
Yeah, know the feeling.
Yeah.
Why Sodacon? I have to ask. For those people that don't know you.
Why Sodacon?
Yes.
Sodacon was something that I came up with when I was younger, and I was in the, all I could do was just mix tapes with a 4-track. Mm-hmm. And so I came up with these tapes called Sodacon about this character. He was this character that was like this martial arts expert that was just this crazy badass, someone totally that I'm not like at all. So I use my music to come up with characters and to come up with things and ways to so I did it again with Mark Antares recently the last few months.
That reminds me a little bit of Coheed and Cambria, how they write basically these stories about people that aren't them, and I really dig that. So that's actually a great story. Say hi to my wife. Hi, wife. Jump cut. So how long have you been doing Mark Antares?
Just recently, just last couple of months. Something really strange happened, and I'm not used to playing out a whole lot recently, or for years I just been recording and I try to play out once in a while here and there, but I just decided one night I finished another Sodacon album, Desert Life. I finished recording that and I released it, and I thought, well, it's nobody really knows who I am, but I'm just going to go down and play this open mic tonight, just for fun. And so I went down there, and I got there and I saw a band playing, and I'm like, well, I better leave because this band's already playing. I don't want to get in their way, whatever. They were so nice. They're like, come on over here.
More of an open jam thing.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's just an open mic. Just come on over. Mm-hmm. I'm like, okay. And a bunch of people showed up, and there were these great singers, and I ended up playing a couple of my songs from the new album with the band out of the blue. And so that was great. I just wasn't expecting that. So I ended up going back there to play a couple more times, and next thing I know, I'm playing out more, and it's like, and I approach it differently than I used to back in the day when I was, I lived alone, I was trying to do this stuff, but I have a family now, and it's just different, so I have to approach it differently, but I love it, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm really happy about this turn in my life, and I hope it continues.
Definitely. I actually, on a separate video, I reviewed Desert Life actually for you.
Oh, wow.
And I'll be putting that up probably a couple days before this video comes out. I really liked it. It went in directions I wasn't expecting it to, but in a good way, and I actually wanted to talk to you about one of the tracks, Coat Check. How did you get? How did Zakin to do that with you?
Zach Ian is a friend of mine from San Francisco, and I met him on MySpace in 2009 out of the blue.
Shout out to Tom.
Shout out. Shout out to Zach. So he's a really great guy. He was basically, he has his own record label. He was helping an artist tour. I just went just to support the show because I like supporting artists whenever I can. I get there, these guys are great. I watch Fernando Tarango play, and then next thing I know, I'm going to Frisco a month later. End up doing a music video for Now You're on Track, and it was great. So we've been friends over the years. He came over to my place back about a year and a half ago. We did coat check. Just threw that down, and it took me forever to finish the mix, and I feel bad for that, but I think the mix turned out nice, and
Yeah,
glad you brought it up.
It was nice because every track was not the same, but there were certain consistencies, and then you were throwing in different layered things. It was like, oh, okay, this is different and this is different, and then there's all of a sudden hip hop or like rap, and you're like, okay, cool. And so I thought that was really nice. And then I did a little bit of deep diving on Zach Ian, and I'm probably saying his name wrong, sorry. But I was just like, I didn't even know what I expected to find. But, well, that's very cool. I'm glad that you kind of discovered that, hey, I can play out, and that you've grown into that. I had the same thing sort of happen when I moved to this town. And I'm not going to bore people with that now, but basically, it started as an open mic with a band. How do you know my stuff? Maybe I should play out, kind of thing. So, how long have you been doing music all together?
I've been playing guitar since I was like 12, 13, so 1990. I played it. I used to play, in high school. A lot of people know me from then. I used to jam rock songs. I was into rock music.
Wasn't everybody?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
I was into jazz too. I played in jazz band. I liked all sorts of stuff, and I just kind of kept playing. And I worked for tech companies, and then I would spend all my money on music equipment, and then I would work on the weekends recording. So people don't know that about me. I think they don't know that I would spend a lot of my spare time working on a song or doing the stuff that eventually a lot of these songs I was able to just fix them up more later and release them. But I've been working on this for a while, 30 something years now. Jeez,
It adds up. Yeah. Believe me, with breaks, I'm pretty much right there myself. I also do tech support and IT work, and every now and then I like surprising people. It's like, oh, you're a musician? Yeah, Google me, and that's all. That's all I say. Just Google me, and my name pops up a lot of places. Not that I'm famous at all, but it's really nice to have somebody look at you a completely different way based on, oh, you also create, you also do other things besides what I see you do every day for 5 days a week.
Yeah, we're more than just where we work or
Right.
even musicians. I mean, people are complex and on
Right.
so many levels, and
What you do for a job is not who you are.
that's right.
Okay.
But I love my job, dude. I tell you, I love what I do for a living. I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy with just compared to where in years past. I'm very fortunate to work for a great company.
I'm really happy too with mine, if they're watching.
But yeah, I'm being able to help people. Just as it's that for me. That's the greatest thing. Just helping people and giving them when they call in, just whatever I can do to assist them. I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to move on to one of two usual interview questions. Early musical influences.
Early influences.
Like, what shaped you into who you are now? As in, hey, I could do that. I want to do that, or something like that.
Well, okay, I grew up on the usual, like, well, I would see things when I was little. I had a little bit of piano playing lessons, and I would see like the stuff on TV, and eventually I got into rock. I got into different styles. I like pop. I always liked pop. Rock was, I don't know, something about the guitar, man. Anytime, and Michael Hedges. When I was first starting to learn guitar, I would learn some Michael Hedges on acoustic. I loved it. The classical guitar. I would just carry my guitar down 35th South, and then I would go into the old Riverton music, and then I had my lessons, and then I would play, and then I would And then I switched guitar teachers, and this went on. I got a jazz band. I was fortunate enough to make the cut in the jazz band. This other guy could play circles around me at the time, but I was able to join the band because I showed up and he didn't. And then,
new bands, pay attention. New musicians. What is it? 90% is showing up. Yeah.
Right, and then I got better at playing the jazz chords, and so
When you say jazz, are you talking more like jazz standards, like Tony Bennett and Sinatra and stuff, or are you talking more like Spyro Gyra or?
This was back in school. Like these are like old
okay,
school
so this
30s
was school jazz band.
Jazz band, yeah. So that was
nobody's
really,
singing kind of thing. Okay.
But just by showing up to a few things, I was able to, at least by showing up, I was able to get there. But that's half the battle. You have to actually perform. And if you don't perform, they know that you're not giving them your all. That's
right. Yeah. It is always painfully evident when someone's not rehearsing. Yeah. Current influences. So when you're working on your new stuff, what are you listening to now that kind of gets your juices flowing or gets you the spark there?
It's not like it used to be where I feel like the stuff I listen to is in this range and the music's like this, right? Mm-hmm. So I try to just broaden it as much as I can. I just like listening to mixes. How are they producing this song? I don't care if it's a country mix, a rap mix, or a rock mix. Like, are they using a tape in there? Is it mixed old school, or is it too loud?
And that has to do with the production and the engineering you put in.
Right. Yeah, let me more appropriately address your question. What do I like to listen to now?
No, I just meant that's what you're focusing on, because as a singer-songwriter, I focus on lyrics more than I think, and maybe the hook. But I don't worry, like, what's the bass line sound like as much.
I focus on that too. I just a lot of times I'm trying to figure out, well, how can I make my productions better? So I'm always trying to listen to different producers, and I'm trying to figure out which part of it is the musician and which part of it is the producer really laying on the freaking gloss.
The lipstick and mascara, yes.
Right.
All right. This is the other usual interview question that every musician hates. How do you define your musical style? For anybody watching, for some reason, that wants to watch this and doesn't know who you are.
This one got easier over time. I guess independent space rock or acoustic rock.
Yeah,
acoustic space
that's exactly how I would describe your sound. Acoustic based space rock with surprises. Go ahead.
I'm glad. Yeah, thanks for listening to Desert Life again. I don't know if the album's been heard a lot, but I've had some good feedback on it so far.
Yeah, no, I listened to all of Desert Life, and I especially like Momentum, partially because you made a video of it, or for it rather. I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Coat Check. There was another song, a track on there. During the review, I said it's my favorite track on the album, and it would lend itself to a music video. And unfortunately, the memory escapes me. Sorry.
It's okay. Solarium's a good one to check out on there. Mm-hmm. There's a few. If maybe I do plan on a couple more videos at least for that album.
Right. Incidentally, if you'd like to watch that CD review I did, there's a link right there. All right. Musical goals. What are your musical goals? What are you striving to, right.
Right now my next goal is to get this next CD done. I'm halfway through it already. The guitar I got for it sounded great. I'm glad I just accomplished that, and I wanted to just write a really good album. The Desert Life's a great album. It's still transitional to me personally because of stuff I was going through. But I tell you what, this new one, I'm really liking the sound of this guitar, and I like the style of it. And so that's my goal, is to make this album sound really good. Play some great shows out here and just have fun, man. I took it so seriously for so long, and I get so down on myself that I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just gonna have fun and just give it my all, and I think people are noticing that.
Yeah, you can always tell when someone's having fun on stage, or when it's a grind, or they're just like, this is not what I really want to be doing right now. Yeah, so that's actually I had a band break up, an indie rock band. I took a hiatus for about a year, and I finally realized, what I really love doing and what I would love to get paid to do is singing jazz standards. Now I have a band. We're currently looking for a keyboardist, pianist. Anybody who wants to join? It's called the Dirty Martinis, and
Nice.
and we do crooner, Rat Pack, Sinatra, that kind of stuff. I'm the singer, and for once I'm just the singer.
That's nice.
So nice.
You don't have to like deal with a guitar hanging on you.
I will get to schmooze and work the crowd.
Yeah.
I just have the mic and I'm gonna hey, how you doing?
You got to switch it up sometimes. You got to like every once in a while. It helps, and I'll have to go check it out.
Well, you will be the second person to know because I'm not booking gigs till we of course have that final piece, either a keyboardist or jazz guitarist, someone who can be there to lay down everything else that isn't bass or drums. Because without a keyboardist or pianist or at least a jazz guitarist, you can't do it. Yeah, you can't do it. It's not the same. All right.
I like the way you're planning it. I think that that's one step at a time, man.
I booked gigs and then tried to fill the band. It's hard.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
At least right now. I've had to do it before. I've had like bands drop during gigs. I've had every live scenario imaginable. You probably have too.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking to Leaving Springfield. I was watching some of that YouTube. They were talking about like the situations where they had to add players and how it changed the music that they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, I could relate to that.
Shout out to Leaving Springfield. Love you guys.
Yeah, that's a shout to you guys. I liked what I saw from them. They were
definitely
good cats, man.
Favorite show memory? Some show you were playing or you were part of, where you have just a favorite show memory. It may be something totally messed up or just.
It's still that artisan memory, the one I brought up earlier with showing up out of the blue and it's a packed crowd and I'm playing with the band and I just thought I'd be sitting on a stool, just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
And so that was cool. My next favorite is the band battle of 2011. Winning that at the community college was pretty cool. I was just up there playing by myself, and
You want to battle the bands by yourself?
Yeah, it was kind of strange. I had my keyboard, I had my beats, my keyboard, my guitar, and I was running around the room. I don't really try that so much anymore. I like to play.
Oh, so you tried to basically recreate the album?
Yeah.
On stage.
Well,
always fun. Yeah.
I didn't have a band. It was a situation. Yeah. I'm more comfortable playing out acoustic these days. If I can't do it with my acoustic, I don't do it, or I just get a band. But at the time, it was like, I'm going to do all this stuff. And I remember before the gig, I thought to myself, good hell, what am I going to do? And but it turned out, and we ended up raising a lot of money for homeless. We got over 1,300 cans, and that was the point of the battle, to raise money for the homeless. So the fact that we brought in the most cans, that was the best part.
See, I respect that as a battle of bands. I've been in battle of bands where you're just trying to win something, whether it's money or you're the house band for this venue or whatever. And the venue, of course, is getting free entertainment. But that's actually respectful. I like that. Speaking of which, favorite venue?
Favorite venue I've ever played? Yeah.
Or even if just you've seen music in, but what's your favorite venue?
The favorite venue I've seen music in. Wow. I'm still working my way through the Vegas venues, so I know that those are coming up. But I have to say at this point, and that's not, I haven't been to as many as I would like, but I do. If it's in Salt Lake, I'd have to say I like the USANA Amphitheater. I just like the hill. I like the way it's set. I like the shows I went to there.
Okay.
But as far as the best place I've ever played, Rice-Eccles Stadium. I like the way the guitar sounded through that house PA.
Right.
The one time I was lucky enough for that to happen. But I'll figure it out. My favorite venue isn't yet written in stone. Fair
enough. I've heard all sorts of different answers to that question. I don't even have. Every time I think I have one, I go see somebody at a new venue, and I'm like, I would love to play this place, kind of thing. But yeah, dream show. What if you could be part of any show with any musician? What's your dream show that you want to do?
Man, I would probably mix it up with maybe some prog rock guys like between Rush and King's X, or maybe even do something like that. Some kind of it could be anybody that's just puts on a good show. We jam together.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is a dream show when the crowd's into it and the music's happening and they get what you're saying and they get the meaning of it. That's a dream to me.
Definitely. Mine's always been I want to have that moment where I go out on stage at a festival and just a sea of people, and maybe they don't even know who me or the band are, but because they're there and they're having a good time, as soon as we start rocking or playing or doing whatever, the feedback is amazing. I always want that. I've actually headlined. I fronted a band that we headlined a music festival here, but it was like 50 people in a park. So no
Those
shade.
can be okay though.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun. It was just I want that total ego gratifying, kind of thing. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't. I don't think you did. I just think that it was like it took me a while to realize that, gosh, even if there's like one person in the room, 5 people in the room, and it's hardest to play for just the one person, right? Yeah. I think. But if it doesn't matter who's in the room, you got to play for the people, however you can. But it's when you're younger and you're trying to like get that feeling, and you see, you're always comparing your chapter 3 to somebody else's chapter 28, and you have to kind of just learn that, well, just enjoy a day at the park, and the rest will come later. You figure yourself out first, and then everything else will hopefully follow, right?
I mean, I don't know if this has happened to you, but I've been in bands where there's always that one song where you don't play it live, maybe because it just doesn't seem to get a lot of response or whatever. But when you play into two drunks in a bar tender, you're like, yeah, let's do that song. I don't care if it's 10 minutes long. Let's do the song. Yeah. I have a song I wrote that was like 6.5 minutes long, and we never played the full version unless it was to hardly anybody, just because it's like, okay, you get to make up for it. Now we talked about your next show.
Oh yeah.
How are you doing? How you like it so far?
How do I like the?
How are you doing?
Pretty good. I'm nervous during interviews, but I'm still doing okay. I think I've never traditionally been good at interviews. I'm just going to say that now, just so you guys know. If I seem antsy, that's why. But Josh is making me feel comfortable. I'm opening up. I'm cool with it.
Well, I do my best. By the way, you're free to swear if you want. Swear, have a beer, whatever.
I will have a beer actually, if that's okay,
sure.
Just for the kind of.
What's your usual?
Let's just go with maybe a regular Corona or something.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I'm afraid I don't have any limes. I know. Philistine.
All good.
But
all good.
I do have. There you go. Okay. Full service on room 6.
Okay. This is nice that you do this for the scene. I'm very honored that this is the second or the third or fourth interview. I can't remember.
Oh no!
How many of these you've done now?
I've lost count. No, I'm just kidding. I think you're 5th.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome.
But honestly, I'm amazed. Thank you, everybody that is watching. I'm amazed at the response from musicians, even musicians that never play acoustic. Like everything you hear from them is electric, distortion, metal, etc. Everybody's been like, yeah, I want to do an acoustic thing in an interview, sure. The whole point is, I can't go to all your shows. I can't. So I'm bringing you to me. But also, it's nice to kind of strip things down a little bit, have some fun, hear, the songwriting process a little bit, without the tricks. There's my dog making her usual appearance during an interview.
It's okay.
Oh no, that's fine. Let's talk gear. Everybody likes.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes, see.
Hell yes. No, this is where I excel.
Yes. So, what's your current gear?
I'd have a modest studio. Okay, and I've had this same setup for a while. It's just a simple little summing mixer, dangerous D-box, a couple of speakers. I set up my sound foam with reflection and refraction as best I can, and then I just mix in my head, or if with my headphones, or with my speakers when I'm allowed. So yeah.
Here's the DIY home recording.
Heck yeah.
And yeah, I've had that happen many times.
I don't know. If it's recording, I think the listener sets the volume. They know on their stereos how loud they want it to go. They can always crank it if it's mastered a certain way. But if it's too loud, I always see people turning it down. That's where I started noticing.
Yeah, the way I always approached the gig was like this, like a roller coaster, and you go up and you kind of hit those, and then you bring it back down. But you always save the loudest song for the last one.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where people.
That's a live setting, and that's where you want to kind of bring it and be.
Oh, you're talking more for the recording.
Recordings, like
don't.
Yeah.
I definitely heard.
Yeah.
All right, so moving from Dream Gear, let's talk Nightmare. Losing gear. Did you ever lose gear?
Okay, dude. Oh yeah. 30 years of band. I did some stupid things in my day. I learned lessons. I was like, man, you don't ever, you just can't be that trusting. You don't ever leave things. You just end up losing gear. Yep. I had a gig once where we booked a band. This was like this is back in the late 90s. We booked a band and they ended up opening. Somehow it was a Halloween party. It was packed. We didn't even get to play, and somehow I ended up with my cabinet freaking going. So that kind of shit. No, I'm still pissed about it.
I'm still pissed.
I'm still,
about the guitar I left in a parking lot at Hooters Casino. Right.
And those are the kind of things I would hope nobody has to learn those kind of lessons, but I think it's helped me somewhat too.
Unfortunately, the lessons we remember are the painful and expensive ones. Yes.
Doesn't mean those people are off the hook if they ever get found. Just putting that out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, fortunately, I didn't spend that much on it. None of my guitars are more than $200 because I live in Vegas and I've played, and I can't fathom having that kind of money invested in something unless you've got the money to blow. Spend $5,000 on a guitar.
It took me years to play the guitar. I haven't bought a guitar for 13 years, and since my last SG. No, this is 11 years, just to be accurate. And that SG, it was great. I still have it, and I love it. But it took a while just because of life happens. If it's nothing's free. Let's try to survive. But I've taken steps to make my life better, and I'm pretty happy with where I'm at, man. I can't reiterate that enough. I'm stoked. I'm just thrilled.
That's all that really matters. I understand. When the band.
It's okay.
I understand. I understand, Chloe. But I'm in the middle of an interview. This will be some funny caption. She's always the fifth Beatle. She's the unknown comic. But I lost my train of thought, so that's okay. Let's move on. Last question, actually.
All right, sure.
Yeah. Maintenance tips. Any maintenance tips for the newbies out there, especially people who are trying to do the I'm doing everything in the studio myself kind of way you do?
Don't do that. Mainly.
Yeah, I've done it too. Don't do that.
If you want to go the long way, look, it's great to have a producer that has the ear that can do stuff. I had to build that ear for years and years and years, and I had to screw up a lot of stuff. So, but it's nice to have that. If you want to go that route, if you want to be a producer, go for it. Learn those techniques. Learn the compression and the EQ and all that stuff. But if you're just doing the songwriting thing, whether you're a producer, whether you're a songwriter, get help. Don't be on an island. That's something that. Mm-hmm.
And always make sure other people listen to whatever it is that you're working on along the way.
Yeah.
Don't say, this is it. I put months of my life into this baby. I hope you like it. And then they're gonna, if they're honest and they're honest with you, they may crush your dreams. Whereas if you say, hey, this is what I'm working on right now. It's a little rough. And what do you think? Does it need more salt? Does it need more pepper? What?
Yeah, I always I eventually started looking at my music as just a garden that I got to keep constantly cultivating and constantly growing. And then one day I had a tree over here, and then eventually I wanted it to look beautiful, like my whole catalog. But you just got to take it, step by step. And
it's a good analogy. How about any maintenance tips for the actual gear?
For the maintenance for the gear, okay. Guitars, it took me time for this, but I don't ever let my guitars out of the case anymore. I don't. Stands are great, but I keep them in my case because I don't want the humidity, especially here. Is this a humidity place?
No, this is dry.
So this actually helps your guitar. The guitar doesn't really.
Actually, it can hurt. It'll dry it out. So a lot of musicians, especially with the acoustics, will do. They'll get those little humidifier things that you put distilled water in, and you put it in the strings, and that it just keeps the wood supple. I unfortunately haven't done that with mine.
No. I've had some guitars. I got to get some work done. I mean, guitar techs, or I got to hire a guitar tech. I got to find somebody out here that can handle 3 of my old axes to hopefully bring them back to prominence. But my latest guitar, I got this Epiphone. Man, it is a dream to play. I love it. But I'm still going to take that to a tech too, just they say you should always take your new guitars to a tech, right?
At least for the initial setup, and because a lot of times you may think, oh, okay, it sounds pretty good in the store.
Yeah.
You get it to somebody who sets it up, it's so much better. The fingering, the action on it, just the general way that it's set up. I mean, that's why it's called setting up. It's set up for you for success. It's the best way it's going to be, even especially if you don't know what you're doing. But how about let's see. You've done keyboard, you've done guitar, you did bass, right? How often do you change your strings?
Right now, it's every 3 weeks. I've for a while, not often.
Right, I'm guilty, and as watchers of this channel will know, the guitars on my guitar wall have not been changed in a long time because I just don't play them. I'm really, they're not trophies. They're there because I like the way they look. I'm terrible about that, I admit. Sorry. But having
keep
said
an older
that,
one around to practice right before your gig.
having said that,
yeah.
my acoustic electric cutaway that I use that live, that one I do take care of much better. However, it's been a long time since I did a gig personally. I've been focusing on this. So, next time I do a gig where an instrument's being played, I definitely will be taking it to somebody, getting it loved on, spend a little money, make it worthwhile.
Nice.
It's kind of like, how can I put it? It's like when you put your car away for storage, if you go back 10 years later, you gotta, it's gotta be loved on before it can do what it used to do. But you're not paying for it to be in storage, so you can go back every week and change the oil, So
when I was younger, I thought, I got so much time to make this happen. I can do this, I can do that, and if I don't, and then later on, as I realized, well, I could do this in 2 months, 3 months, or it doesn't even flipping matter.
And life gets in the way, and kids, and that's it. The more I get inspiration to make music, the less time I have to make music.
I used to think that I'm going to be my best in this part of my life, and if I don't get it done by this time, I think musicians and artists get better over time. I'm starting to realize, like, especially in my case, I thought that even when I look at about 5 years ago, geez, I like to progress, and I always want to be progressing and learning somehow,
Mm-hmm. Well, basically,
chatterbox over here.
Oh no, trust me. You know who you are. He's got nothing on you, chatty Cathy's. Basically, that's about it for my questions.
Man,
you want to do a song or two?
Let's do a song.
Awesome. Stick around. We've got Mark Antares of Sodacon Music. Gonna go up in room 6 and do what he do. So thank you very much for watching. Hang out. We're gonna drink a little bit and play some music.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba, ba-da-ba.
Yeah. Where has it been when all's not still? Like it hasn't been so long, waiting till the early hour. Where does it go? The early hour. Something's waiting. Could be soda. sun comes out, the early hour, time when all seems still. The early hour, something creeping up the hill. Could be a soda con, could be a soda con. In the early hour, it's the time when all seems still. There's some creeping up the hill. Could be the soda con. This is Way Back Home. It's on the Desert Life album, track 12. And
I want to thank Mark Antares from Sodacon Music for coming by Room 6 today. It was a great interview and a great performance. If you have any musicians you want to suggest for Room 6, or if you have any questions or comments for the musicians you see on here, go ahead and leave them in the comments, please. If you want to hear more from Mark, click here. If you want to subscribe, click here. Thanks for watching. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6.